The Azimut SeaDek 6 promises sustainable luxury. But what does that actually mean? Is it recycled rather than rare materials? Is luxury silence, where power-hungry systems are run off batteries and solar? Is it clean, organic design with an unbroken connection to the sea? Or is it a hull shape designed with performance and efficiency above all else? This is the type of luxury that Azimut is chasing with the SeaDek 6, but hasn't succeeded. And can a boat like this really be sustainable? These are the questions we're looking to answer in this video. I'm Jack Haynes, welcome to Yacht Buyer. The 6 is the first in the new SeaDek series, a range that will eventually include two larger flybridge models. Its triple IPS 650 engines are somewhat at odds with Azimut's sustainable intentions for the range, but the technology and choice of materials is interesting. Solar panels feed the battery bank as part of the mild hybrid system, designed to run the boat at rest in emission-free silence. The decks are covered in cork, not teak, and the carpets are made from recycled fishing nets. Admirable stuff, but what is it like to drive? Before we get up to speed, if you enjoy our sea trials, make sure you subscribe to the Yacht Buyer channel, hit subscribe and the bell icon, and you'll be notified every time we upload a new one. Right, on with the test. Right then, what is the SeaDek 6 like to drive? Well, this is the first time I'm behind the wheel, so you're going to find out at the same time as me. And the idea behind this hull shape is to have a very smooth progression up onto the plane. That is what they were aiming for, that, but also efficiency at high cruising speed between 22 and 27 knots. So let's get it up to speed now. We've got three 480 horsepower Volvo engines, IPS 650. We've just passed 15 knots where it feels like we're jumping onto the plane at about 15 knots. And let's just get up to that low cruising speed, 22 knots. You really do not notice that move up onto the plane. I have to say, there is no obvious hump as this boat moves from displacement to planing speed. So tick number one, that's what they were trying to achieve. And that certainly is very smooth progress. We're now ticking up to 23 knots and that feels very, very comfortable. The reason they went for three engines, they could have done two IPS engines, but the feeling was at this size that actually three smaller engines was better for efficiency. Less drag because you've got a smaller leg in the water, less draft as well because the pod doesn't go down as far into the water. And we are now running at 23 knots and we're doing about 195 litres per hour, which is a good sort of 60-70 litres per hour less than Azimut's own Magellano 60, which is a twin shaft drive boat, and it's about the same as the Azimut 53 Fly, which is an IPS boat, but it's only got two IPS engines. So there is reason there. The most remarkable thing though is how quiet progress is. Looking at my numbers, we were registering mid-60s in terms of decibels at this cruising speed. That is remarkably quiet for a planing boat, especially when you consider we've got three engines. But of course with IPS, these engines are a long way away. They're tucked right back there, lots of sound insulation obviously, so quiet, refined progress, they've absolutely hit the nail on the head. But what about if we fully open the taps? Top speed should be in the region of 32, 33 knots. Builds slowly, but the sound doesn't build. It's under 70 decibels, even when you're at wide open throttle, which is about 3,700 RPM. We're building towards that, we've just got past 30 knots. But yeah, engines are a bit more audible now, but not much really. And actually most of the noise is coming from hearing the water running underneath the hull. So in terms of that peaceful progress that they were trying to achieve, again, they seem to have done a good job of it. And then when you drop back to 25 knots, it feels remarkably refined. It's not particularly designed for driver engagement. It's about sort of isolating you from that experience. So for an IPS boat, of course, the steering is nice and light and it's an easy boat to move around, but there's no sort of great theatre when you do a hard turn. It's very slow, it's very steady, there isn't a huge amount of lean. We have got the Seakeeper up and running at the moment as well, which may take the edge off, but it's not a boat that you're going to throw from side to side really. The wheel, sort of this big wheel, the azimuth wheel, passes through your hands nicely, and there's slow, considered turns rather than anything sharp and particularly agile. I think you're best just to set the speed and let the boat get on with it, really. What about the driving environment? Well, obviously I've got 2 seats here. I like how easy it is to stand. I'm leaning really comfortably. They have got some adjustment on the wheel as well, so you can tilt that up towards you if you want to. But of course, you know, for longer distance cruising, you're going to want to be able to sit, and you've got these lovely fully adjustable seats with a footrest. So if you're covering hard yards, you can lean back, and it's electric as well, so it moves in electronically, it moves up and down electronically. So when you're doing longer distances, you can sit back comfortably. You are, you know, a bit further away from the helm, but of course, really, when you're doing this type of cruising, you're not really interacting with it very much. When you're moving around a marina, when you're going inside, that's when you want to pop the footrest up, move the seat back, and you can put the bolster up, and you can lean very, very comfortably. You've got the window here, so you can talk to your crew. It's a nice, clean helm arrangement. You've got your twin MFDs lined up in front of you. Really good all-round view. There's a lot of glass in this saloon. The surface, as they term it, of the SeaDek 6 is 40% carbon fibre. That's mainly the deck and the superstructure. So they're wanting to lower the weight down. And it is, you know, approximately 5 tons lighter than something like the Pardo Endurance 60. So again, you're seeing that effect in practice. Now, of course, they could have stripped the boat out completely if they wanted to and make it a proper lightweight cruising machine, but then nobody would want to buy it. So you have to put the fun island in, and you have to put the creature comforts. So on that note, I think we should pull back the engines, turn them off, and have a closer look at this boat's pretty remarkable decks. In truth, Azimuth is a little bit late to the party when it comes to platforms and this style of boat. We've seen this before, but it feels like they've been plotting, biding their time to try and execute it as well as possible. And it is inspired by the Bonetti Oasis super yacht range that is obviously part of the same family as Azimuth. And it does have that feel, this gradual rated step down towards the waterline, and the fulcrum of that is this amazing bathing platform. It slides out, then it drops down, it's got built-in stairs, it's also where you can mount the tender, and the effect when it's down is wonderful. And we begin to see the effect of the use of cork across the decks. No teak on here, they've used cork instead, more sustainable, but also it's a really practical material. It's grippy, and this platform was in the water moments ago and it's already nearly dry. So it's a nice effective deck covering. And the space is wonderful. Obviously you have the balconies which give you that extra width. We have a lovely big sun pad here, and underneath which there is storage. On the bigger SeaDeks, that will be a tender garage, but storage for toys, fenders, that sort of thing on this model. And it works very well. And what I particularly like about this whole design is how everything is orientated to face out over the water. Obviously the sun pad is in the prime position, but this backrest slides, so you can move that down to about here to give you a perch over the water. Obviously in this version it gives you the dinette, but it's nice, this seating here that looks out over the water, and there's a gentle unbroken step into the galley as well. If you want extra shade, there's a sunshade that pops out from here, and this is a lovely design feature because these come a long way to give you protection from the breeze. Obviously the breeze is going to blow over the bow, so that stops this area being battered by the breeze, and I love the way they've integrated these handholds in here as well. Obviously the table folds, so you can have it fully open like it is now, or you can put it in half if you want a bit more space to move around. And there's also some coolers underneath the sunbed as well. It's a really effective piece of design, and it does genuinely, with the platform down, sort of invites you down into the water. It's lovely. But I'm going to go around to the starboard side now. We're headed to the foredeck, but there's something I want to show you up here on the starboard side deck. First of all, it's the width of these side decks. They're really nice and spacious, very easy to move around, no guardrails at all. I do like the fact that they've got the cork on top of these sections as well, and it's clip-in fenders. See, there's no rails to hang them off, so these all pop into slots that are dotted along the side. But this is an IPS boat, and it's nice that as an option, you have this pop-out wing station, so that if you're mooring stern to, you have full joystick control from back here. You've also got a repeater for the thruster control, engine start-stop, med mooring. This is just the place you want to be. Onto the foredeck. There isn't a helm side door on the SeaDek 6, but there is at least a nice big window here, so it's easy for the skipper to communicate with the crew and obviously get some fresh air into the helm station. And yeah, passage forward is very, very easy. These are nice and tall, and though there's no guardrail, you can grab onto the sides very easily. Some good practical stuff as well. Like on both sides here, we've got decent lockers. They're actually connected, so you can put longer items in here. They've got the poles for the canopy, for example, stowed in there. It's all nicely lined on a gas ram. properly done, and yeah, just really useful space that you want to see when you're crewing the boat. Some nice details up here as well. Pop-up lights, and this tray which is drained to put odds and ends in, nice big cup holders and some handrails. And also on the sun pad you've got easily actuated pop-up backrests. They're just on a gas ram, so they pop up easily, they push down easily, simple as that. And it's got a concealed anchor arrangement, which is quite nice. It leaves it very clean and easy to move around this area when you're doing med mooring. But then you have twin anchor lockers which give you really good access to the mechanism itself, which is a through hull arrangement. It's a good space. Now then, let's head inside. Future bigger SeaDek models will have a flybridge option. That isn't an option on the SeaDek 6. It is all about single level living, everybody being all in the same space, and it works very well. These areas connect really nicely, but also the use of glass in here connects you to the outside. Floor to ceiling over on that side, and they put a cut in the bulwark as well, so when you're sitting down you still have a nice view out over the water. There's glass above us as well. That is not a sunroof, that's fixed glass, and these vanes are fixed as well. You think it might be a good function for those to be able to tilt and create some shade, but they want them fixed so they get this lovely pattern here running across the seating when the sun is shining. That is the sort of frippery that only Italians can get away with, but we love them for it. And the effect is glorious. It's beautiful in here. Turning to the galley, what's most amazing is how well hidden everything is. Even the induction cooktop is set within the surface. It's almost invisible. Only the controls here give you a clue that there's actually a cooktop inside there. There's a cover for the sink as well, so that can be completely hidden away when you're not using it. Put the tap up like that, but there is a space for the sink top inside that cupboard, which is quite handy. The fridge is hidden behind this ribbed wood effect fascia. Nice size fridge, that big freezer beneath as well, and then this one splits and reveals space for glassware, crockery and that sort of thing. And yes, it's all very subtle and hidden away, but you've got everything you need here. Behind this fascia we've got a Miele oven down there, pop out drawer with cutlery storage, and then on this side you've got your dishwasher. So it's all there, but when you're not using it you wouldn't know. Same thing with the television. Where is the TV, I hear you say? It's above my head. There's a switch down there and it swings down from the ceiling and it faces this sofa here, which is all pushed over to one side, but it helps because it means that you've got this really nice flow back out the boat down to the companionway forward as well. Table opens up to double in size too if you do want to dine inside, but I think you'll be doing everything you can to go and dine outside in that cockpit. And storage is pretty good as well. There's 3 nice deep drawers underneath the helm station there. We talked about what we've got over in the galley, and this is quite handy too. This is the switchboard, very easy to get to, close to the helm, all very neatly labelled, place where you can switch between generator, shore power, that sort of thing. So it looks very clean, minimalist, but actually there's good practicality underneath it all as well. And it's the same case downstairs. So let's head down there. In terms of the lower deck accommodation on the SeaDek 6, we have a 3-cabin, 2-bathroom layout. It's nice and bright down here. It's a light palette anyway, but there's also good amounts of natural light drawn down from up there in that saloon. In terms of the cabins themselves, let's start up front with the VIP cabin. First things first up here, headroom. I'm 6 foot tall and there's a decent amount of room above my head. If you're 6'7", you're going to struggle, but if you're not that tall, it's okay in here. And the space is generally pretty good around the bed as well. There's enough space at the end of the bed to get changed, certainly if there's one person here getting changed on their own. Storage is very good. There's a big amount underneath the bed. There's a full-size hanging locker on that side and a slightly smaller one on this side. You've only got the ports on either side. We have got an escape hatch here, but there's no light overhead, so there isn't masses of natural light in here, but what it does have is private access to the dayhead, and that's a nice sized bathroom with a separate shower cubicle. It is also shared with the twin cabin, which we'll have a look at now. The twin cabin then, probably best suited to kids because the beds aren't huge, but if a couple of adults want to sleep in here on the odd occasion, it'll be perfectly fine. It's got a nice amount of storage over here, in fact, you know, for clothes and bags and things like that. And obviously across the way you do have access to that bathroom. Storage in between here, Headroom is a little bit impeded by the helm station, which is up above us here, but obviously when you're lying down it's not too bad. And it's nice to have details like reading lights above the bed, and there are repeater switches for all the lighting as well. So if you're lying in bed, you can turn all the lights off from down here. There's a bit of natural light as well. Obviously we've got the blind down. They've got these films across the windows as well to stop the UV coming in and keep the boat cool. But you have got a little opening port as well, so you can get some natural ventilation in here. Right, let's finish off down here with the owner's cabin. So yes, heading amidships is where we will find the owner's cabin. Before we get there though, just a couple of things to point out. First of all, this is where the washer dryer lives, tucked away quite neatly down there. And then in here is a simply enormous storage space. Not only is it very tall, but it goes back a long way as well. Very useful day to day, but also great for putting bags and things like that. Very nice use of space. And then we arrive inside the owner's cabin itself, and this has a real beach house vibe. Lots of similar themes to up in the saloon. The ribbed wood and everything looks really good down here, but it's very welcoming. It needs the boost of colour that we've got from the bedspreads and things like that, because it's quite a monotone palette, but it's clean and inviting and spacious too. You can obviously get a sense of the space above my head, plenty of floor space to move around as well. And the way the bed is arranged means you can lie in bed and actually look out through the hull windows, which is always a very nice effect. And these are the biggest section of hull windows, so natural light is very good inside this cabin. Some nice detail too. Both sides of the bed, you have good sized bedside tables, lamps and repeaters for all the switches, so again you can control lighting from within the bed, which is nice. Lovely big sofa over here that you can just crash down onto if you want to chill out. Putting shoes and socks on, all very easy in here. And there is massive storage over there as well, drawers and hanging wardrobes. And it also has a very nice private, of course, bathroom. And there's some beautiful detail here. I really like these metal backed handles. So the front is wood, the back is metal that's cold to the touch, and it's also magnet catches, so you haven't got a catch poking out, it just clips shut like that. It's a really, really nice space. And through that bulkhead there, we find the battery room and the machinery space. So let's head there next. If you do go for optional hotel mode, this is where you find the battery bank, access through this hatch in the cockpit. If you don't have that, you can have a captain's cabin down here instead. The batteries are mounted inside a steel box beneath me. All the charging apparatus is up here. It's all been developed by Torqeedo, and theoretically in the day you can run all systems, including air conditioning and Seakeeper, for 4 hours. At night you can run it all for 8 hours without firing up the generator. Now, talking the generator, let's go and check out the machinery space, which is just down there. First things first, we're obviously in a machinery space and the Seakeeper is running, so that is the whine you can probably hear on the microphone. Now you might expect, because there are 3 engines down here, it to feel cramped, but it really doesn't. You can see the amount of space between these engines, and that is the benefit of having 3 small blocks. They fit in much easier and it's very easy to move around them as well. Good access to the pod drives too, and all the other stuff is very easy to access. You can see the generator is right here by the entrance, good to get to. Same with the Seakeeper. The batteries are inside this box right at the bottom of the steps, which is always very helpful, and you've got twin filters for each engine, again all lined up, very easy to get to, and also very easy to switch between them if one of them gets blocked when you're out on the water. Considering the amount of machinery in here, it's an impressive space. It's easy to scoff at what may be considered no more than a nod to sustainability here, but there's another way to look at it. These features make the boat more pleasant to live with. The cork decking is a revelation. Running the systems in silence when the boat's at rest makes being on anchor so much more pleasant. And it's a very easy boat to live with, thanks to safe, spacious side decks and a cockpit and saloon that blend together effortlessly. Whether you buy into Azimut's sustainability angle or not, the SeaDek 6 is a fabulous boat. Thanks for watching that review of the Azimut SeaDek 6. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a like if you did, and comment below to let me know what you think of this brand new model. If you'd like to watch my review of one of this boat's stablemates, the Magellano 60, I'll put that up there. More sea trials for you down there. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can click up there. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haynes. This is Yacht Buyer.